this is Joe, who's going to say a few words. Then the next person, Chris McDermott from Jumeirah Primary School. He will continue upon the Principal's Playground session.
What sort of a man is he?
He's a good man, he's a great man.
What a marvellous person.
Okay, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jo. Great to see you here today. I'm just going to give you a little bit of background to the playground, the Principal's Playground. Sorry there aren't swings and slides and stuff, but it's coming. We had a lot of feedback, and this gentleman over here gave me the most feedback, Darrell Welch, that it would be great if there was a space in every What Works where school leaders could come together and get to know each other and look at areas that they would like to discuss in the future. So today is the first time we've done it. We had a session in the morning and this session, and there's a board over there which is rather blank at the moment, and that board is for you at any time during today just to jot up some notes of things you may like to talk about in the future at Principal's Playground sessions. This session is all around well-being, so I hope you're feeling good. If you're not, Chris will get you there. And with no further ado.
Yes, so no pressure there then. Thank you, Jo. Okay, gosh, it reminds me of a time I was giving a speech at a friend's retirement do, and there were 4 speakers. And I was the last to go. And he said, I've left this gentleman last because we've heard him speak before. He's so funny, blah-de-blah-de-blah, Chris McDermott. And if you've ever felt a sense of pressure in your life, my goodness me, I felt a sense of pressure then. But I made them laugh a bit by telling them I was drunk, and everybody thought that was hilarious for some reason. I don't know why. And I wasn't drunk, sir, just in case you're wondering. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to chat a little bit about well-being, because this is our Principal's Playground focus for today. But before we do that, we thought we'd do a little bit of a warm-up. And I was telling people this morning what really, really gets on my nerves. I don't know if there's anybody here who goes on emails for relaxation. Is there anybody like that here who thinks, I must get to my emails, I'm stressed out man?
Some people do.
They do?
I'm planning on Yammer now.
Yeah, well, I'm not one of them, because I seem to spend a great deal of my life looking at computers, and they have this thing, what's it called, spooling?
Very good. I have no idea.
No, well, I'm trying to impress you with my technical knowledge now. And I sit there and I stare, and it goes round and round and round and round and round, and I get very stressed. So it doesn't help me at all. So I thought, well, the focus is well-being. What we need to do is get to know each other just a little bit better. So we'll make the focus well-being. What you've got to do is there are pads littered around, pencils and various things. You've got to write down 3 things about yourself, 2 of which are true and help you with your well-being, and the 3rd of which is a downright lie. It doesn't help. So, for example, if it was Chris McDermott, if I'd put listening to music, giving attention to emails on the computer, playing sport, you might guess which one was a downright lie. So you're going to put, but you're not going to be as obvious as me. You're going to write down 3 things about your own personal well-being, 2 of which make you feel better, and 1 of which just doesn't. And then when we've done that, so that takes us a couple of minutes, then when we've done that, we're going to go around and meet other people, we're going to introduce ourselves, we're going to tell the other person what the 3 things are we've written down, and the other person, with great insightfulness, has got to look at us, assess us, and tell us which one is a downright lie. Does that make you feel a bit?
Truth game.
Truth game. Okay, off we go. Any questions? Off we go. Okay, so when you've finished, Find somebody who you think you're going to be able to suss out very easily. Descend upon.
You guessed it, so.
Do you know what your stressful thing is? Hi, I'm Jane.
Hi, Jane, Chris.
Nice to meet you, Chris.
Hi, I'm from JPS. Watching your body language, but don't feel under pressure.
No, that's all right. That's all right. I've read those books as well. A little relaxed. I play the French horn. I go to the gym, and I read non-fiction books.
There you go.
That's a tough one, because there's no obvious ones there. Which one is a lie? Are you going to help me?
I think it's the book.
I think it's number 2.
You think it's the gym? Okay, just for the hell of it, I'm going to go for the French horn then.
So you think it's French horn.
Yeah.
You think it's the books. And you think it's the gym.
Yeah.
I do play the French horn, and that is my real release, and I play it professionally in Dubai, so I know that's a
There
good
you
one.
go.
I love reading non-fiction books. I'm reading one called 1462 about the change of the world, and I go, but I absolutely hate going to the gym.
Do you know what, Jane? I've discovered a very interesting thing this morning. Every single woman I spoke to had something connected with physical activity. It's very interesting. It either was dieting or going to the gym or something like that. It's very interesting. Okay, I'm going to do you for me.
Okay.
Okay, playing
Theatering yourself, being on stage, but I bet you don't like watching.
No, if you're a performer,
Yeah.
it's very hard
Yeah, that's what I
to
think.
sit in the audience.
Yeah,
She's sussing you out.
yeah.
They are sussing me out.
What do you think?
I
See,
agree
us
with
women, we're
Well, the real one was going for a drive, but I will admit this, that I am a terrible member of the audience. I get very fidgety, and I start hotching around in my seat and thinking, oh,
looking at the lighting and
yeah, oh my God. So you did pretty well, okay.
there you go.
Okay, thank you guys. I'm going to move on. Thank you.
Yes, let's go.
I got it wrong.
Yeah, I just joined, moved to Dubai. I joined Pakistan Education Academy just recently as a vice principal and counseling on their processes of accreditation. So these are my 3 things.
Exploring new knowledge through web that I didn't read about. Listening, number 1. Number 2, listening to news while having coffee. Number 3, sleeping late with no tasks.
Is that the line? Is it?
See?
She got it was just me.
Yes.
My husband's like that.
Is that the right answer?
Yes. No, this is the wrong answer.
That's the wrong. This is the lying.
No, this is what I mean, but it's the right answer from our point of view.
Yeah.
So you don't like getting up late?
I can't. So that makes me sick. I feel sick the whole day.
My husband's
And
like that.
Yeah.
Is he?
On a holiday, he's up at 6.
Yeah, me too. 6:30 is my maximum. When I sleep till 7 a.m., it's
interesting?
something that I'm sick. There is something wrong. I have to listen to news. I have to.
Yeah, I could believe that
Early
one.
morning you start listening to news.
Okay. So, go on. Should we have a... Would you like to
My
say?
name is Afsane. I'm vice principal of Tawhid Iranian School. So the things I feel relaxed and I love to do that is necessary for well-being is spending time with my friends without family and children.
Social.
Sometimes, okay. So, and I love to listen to music a lot.
Okay.
But the last point, sometimes I stick in junk foods. I have to take.
doesn't
So I'm
show.
sure that it affects my well-being.
They're the 3, are they? I don't think you eat junk food.
Yeah. Healthy junk food.
Is that the right answer?
Somehow, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Well, mine, playing squash, you know the game, squash, going to the theatre and going out for a drive in the car.
Last one is the wrong answer.
Yes, the last one is the wrong answer, because I don't have any time to waste time just driving around. And I hate driving when people come right up behind your car, so I don't particularly like driving, I've got to be honest. I love the theatre and I love playing sport, so well done. You got it right.
For me, I enjoy baking. I enjoy going for a walk, and I enjoy reading a good book. Oh,
Again, what was the first one?
baking.
They're very hard. I'm going to go for the walk. You don't enjoy going for a walk.
No, I love horse.
Baking, maybe?
Baking.
I just can't get it right.
It's a stress maker. Oh, gosh. Go on, Joe, are you going to do one?
Yes, you got mine immediately. I like listening to music, I like gardening, and I like visiting friends.
Gardening.
Gardening, okay. Oh, actually,
You don't like gardening, do you? Sorry?
She loves it.
so,
So, we're all divided on this one.
that one? Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, I do. I love playing the French horn. I play it a lot in Dubai. I love reading non-fiction books. That's what I always go to. Yeah, and I go to the gym, but I gain no pleasure from it whatsoever. So, yes, that would have to be my strength.
Okay. Should we get back together? Should we get back together, guys? What was interesting, my reflection from this morning was, I think and I was commenting on this to somebody else, every single woman I spoke to, it was something physical. It was either going to the gym or dieting that they hated. And I thought that was quite an interesting, just mini sociological survey. Has anybody else come up with anything that was interesting? Any revelations, scandals?
Someone plays the French horn.
Yes?
Available for hire.
Yeah. Okay.
Someone here who hates visiting coffee shops.
Yeah.
Is that right?
No.
Oh, is this, who is the...
No, confidence, confidential conversations.
Oh, absolutely. Okay.
And some of us don't like physical things, you're quite right, in terms of, it's too difficult. So, but all of us, interestingly, have got sort of a physical thing, often had a physical thing in taking exercise or whatever.
Yeah. Which takes us next into the thing that we're going to have a little look at before we go away in our group. So just to explain the sequence of things, we're going to get into a couple of groups in a minute, and we're going to agree about a well-being project that's going to be run in our schools. And as I stressed to people this morning, this doesn't mean extra work. It should really be a reflection of what you currently do, because people are working very hard anyway. But we're going to ask you to get together in groups of, say, 2 and 3, and look at the sort of stuff you do in your schools in terms of children's well-being or adults' well-being. But before we do that, we thought it would be quite nice if we tried to categorize and analyze the different areas of our lives that pertain to well-being. We had a little go this morning, and I must say this morning's group was highly intelligent, weren't they? They were, I don't want you, no, they got all the categories straight away, but I don't want you to feel under pressure. Am I raising your well-being now, by the way? No, I'm not, so that's probably one thing. Well, anybody at JPS, my school, would tell you a way to avoid your well-being dropping is to avoid Mr. McDermott. So Mr. McDermott needs to be quite right. Areas for well-being. Can I have a pencil so I can do a bit of scribbling as we're chatting? Thank you. The one we started with this morning, and the most obvious one, I suppose, is emotional well-being. But there are other areas. What sort of areas would affect our sense of wellness, apart from people upsetting us, our emotions? Physical. Yeah, health. Social. Yeah. Sorry? Emotions, certainly, yes. Spiritual, that's a good... That didn't come up this morning, actually, so I think you might have just leapt ahead of this morning's group. But please don't tell them I said that, because I don't want to create dissension amongst the ranks. So, sorry? Financial, yeah, that's a good one. Actually, I think we pretty much got it with those areas. So it's to ask you now, as I say, to get in a group of maybe 3 or maybe just in a pair. You're going to agree to work with one other school between now and next February. So next February you can report back and say, this is the piece of work that we did together. It can be on student welfare, as I say, student well-being, or it can be on adult well-being. And two things I said to people this morning, and I'm repeating myself now. One is, you know, this doesn't have to be a huge piece of work, because to do that then means that people feel, oh, I'm not sure if I can do that, you know, there's too much, I've got so much on, etc., etc. So it's probably something that you're already doing. And the second thing I would say to you is, if it can be a little bit different, that would be great. So I suppose the obvious thing is to look at emotional well-being, and it's not to say that you can't look at emotional well-being, but there's slightly different things you can look at. And I'll give you one example from this morning. Two of the female principals, one of them has to manage a boys section in an Islamic school. And she said when she started doing that job, that presented her with challenges, but she's been able to influence that boys section and manage it very successfully and produce a sense of well-being amongst the male members of staff and the boys themselves. And I said, well, that's really quite different. You know, why don't you report on that next February? So they're looking at that. Okay? So any questions about what we're going to be doing over the next, say, 8, 9, 10 minutes?
But the lady in question is basically, I'm looking after her own school.
Yes.
You're looking at us and collaborating with another school.
We are doing, and I would say it's up to you how collaborative you want to make the project itself. So it might be, for example, I'll be guided by the KHDA here, it might be that they visit your school, have a look at what you're doing, and you report back together, and you do the same for them. I think what I'm trying to do is make it manageable. Of course, it's perfect and fantastic if, Daryl, you come from Modern and you come to my school and we work out a project together. That's ideal, but I didn't want, and I'm looking at Joe here, to impose that on people just in case I was setting the bar too high in terms of what's achievable with everything else going on. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. I think as we found this morning, what was really interesting is, for all of the What Works events before, we have an evidence base. We have the inspection framework, we have PISA to look at maths or science, whatever. However, we know that well-being and all the school's efforts of well-being for both their teachers and their students, there's some amazing things going on. And in February, inshallah, I don't have a date, John, we will be doing What Works well-being. And we thought it would be great if your schools or you could come together to talk about what you're doing in a certain area of your school, like well-being, really to discover it. Yes, we're not going to force anybody to go and do massive projects. It's really more of a reflection. So this morning we had, again, the three ladies I were with, completely different schools, completely different background of students, completely different curriculum. And they all, each one of them, had amazing things going on in their school for their students and their teachers that the other ones didn't know about. So it's really, I think what they're going to do is go and visit each other and then come back and present.
Okay. Sorry?
It is, but actually it has some limitation. You know what I mean? And it's not easy to cooperate with another school to help implement your experience there, or to help to figure out, or to go to that school and spend time there, seeing the improvement of that point, right?
I'd like to welcome Dina, who arrived in Dubai.
Fairly vague. I think perhaps what's more important is that the schools themselves are very different. So mine, for example, is a premium British primary school. It would be very different from an Arabic-speaking, secondary school, etc., etc. So it might be interesting to see what the commonalities and the differences are between those schools, to see if we could actually present on broadly the same theme, even though we work in very different schools. Because I think the work of the KHDA, if I've understood it properly, is about bringing schools together and fostering mutual understanding, even where there is recognizable difference. Okay? Off we go. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have a school.
You can choose one of...
You've got lots of well-being ideas, though.
School is performing good also. Good, acceptable, I can't remember.
What, me?
Yeah.
We're good.
Good. Start to do the good. That's good.
Oh, no, we've been running for 10 years.
Oh, you were
Yeah, 'cause we
educating
were
from
free.
the...
Yeah, we just
okay.
moved.
What happened to the old one?
I think it's become something of well, we think it was the old, what was it called, British Institute,
special
blah,
needs.
blah, yeah.
Okay, now I go.
I think it's now called the Oasis School, or
They
I
changed
don't know.
the name, yeah. They
But they've
changed
done a
they
lot
moved
of,
them over to change it. No, that's
yeah,
right.
you know who that is. Yeah, I think we probably both do
Yeah, yeah.
pupils fairly
Yep.
well. I think we've probably both been acknowledged for that as well. But
Okay,
thinking
staff. That's
might
an
be
interesting
something-
one.
might be something that's slightly different, especially with you are a large staff base. It's I think it's the well-being and engaging staff in social activities and making sure they feel part of the community when you bring in new people, because we were a very tight family. We went out together, we knew each other really well. And that we're going to lose staff from feeling part of our family. Or how do we go about? So that's certainly a concern.
Yeah,
at
so
the
size
moment
is,
for me.
yeah.
So how do you
They, with what's going on, the teachers, the students, the family, so they will be coming to you with whatever the system. I think the first thing you want to is lift that up.
Absolutely.
He's not keeping up. Anyway, and they had their parents visiting KG. I still remember this, and they all wanted it because they all believed it to the Irish schools. This is when they came and met us and said, we did not know how bad it was. And I don't know if that's the story of the English culture, but the idea is they feel now it is so down.
I do kind of think, well, why weren't you involved? Why don't you want to be involved?
So I wonder if there are systems.
Engage people.
Do you-
I don't know if there is a back of the whole thing.
Oh, sorry. Joe?
It's not down as a back
Sorry.
in the hall anywhere.
So let's
Well,
have a focus. Yeah.
Is it realistic to continue with a whole school Christmas lunch? I mean, no way can you possibly do that.
We did that on Friday,
So you
but that was
can?
we went out. Yeah.
Yeah.
We went out, and we do things like that. We also have things for sections of them that come from India and the Indian subcontinent. We buy them all Christmas presents. We have a special little show for them, etc., etc. I go personally on their staff do, so the support staff go out, plus the principal, because I go everywhere. Because for them, and this is through no sense of conceit at all, but it's very important for them symbolically for me to be there.
Absolutely, I can understand that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those kind of things.
To answer your question, Jane, is something I want you to look for. You just say the key satisfaction. You embed smart questions. You analyze it and you see. So, and that's a good defense because she's doing it. I can You can compare how many. There's a bill curve. Engage, disengage, actively disengaged.
Yeah.
And then what we do is we take.
Attitude in people. I don't know. It's just.
Well, people don't like change generally.
Oh, no, and that's some of them are new staff, but it's just trying to get everybody. So that's a good point of what level have we actually gone to?
It's whether you do simple little things like we did to start the session today, which just means people talk about
We always
themselves.
do that at the beginning of the year. We do that. We do
Simple.
the birthday. We do birthdays every month. We do Secret Santa. We
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes change.
Yeah, try. Well, I was thinking we did, instead of going out, because I'm always wary of capturing all of the cultures that I have. And I know if we go somewhere where there's maybe drinks, some of them will not come. So we had an Arabic staff separate thing, and we did separate things. But trying to but then you get to the point where you get contrived to try and do something that's different. We thought about going. Doing something, we could go bowling, couldn't we? We can walk next door and go bowling. We don't have far to go. But you're still going to have some who, because of children or because of that or that. But is that a natural thing when the school
I think it's a
gets
natural
bigger?
walking around like that. I said because I want to, and because I think sometimes we don't allow ourselves just to be the people that we are. We feel they have to be very adult all the time, and sometimes we just need to play. And if we play more as adults, we'll be happier. So just do it. Break free of the shackles. A little bit of advice there. Okay, enough of that. What are we going to talk about? If you'd like to say your names and your schools, and Steph will capture them, as well as just one sentence, please, on what you're going to do as a joint project. Who'd like to start us off?
Arif Loud from James Bond Academy. We're going to work with Repton, and we're going to share more about the well-being of our teachers.
Okay?
Jonathan from Repton is going to work with Daryl about wellbeing for teachers.
Right. Well, it's nice to see that I've got that sense of reciprocity already. That's marvellous.
And travel costs are minimal.
Okay. Can I speak to Jane from SAFA? Jane from SAFA, what are we doing?
That the well-being of teachers is still a priority when the school gets bigger. Something to do with size change, because that's something, from moving to a relatively still small school to how it's managed.
Yeah. So Jane from SAFA and Chris from JPS will work together. Okay.
I'm Nargis from James Modern Academy, and we've just been talking about the two main issues. Actually, we mainly talked about the Pakistan school, and we said the main issues were motivation of students and the skills, enhancing skill levels of teachers. And I suppose this is a common issue everywhere. But we thought every day we come in and we expect so much of our teachers, and it might be a good idea one day to just let them come in, maybe on a non-instructional day, and relax, so they know, that this, for example, give them good reading material, have an organic day, we're just having juice and exercising and fruit and nuts and that sort of stuff. So they know someone's interested in my well-being as well. And if you do that, maybe just once in a term, they just get charged to do something better.
That sounds good. Allowing people to recharge and to reflect. Because it seems to me we're all so busy doing stuff that we don't take time out to reflect. And often those moments of reflection are the most fruitful in terms of generating ideas to take the organisation forward. The one example I can think of, I think it was Bill Gates, and 2 weeks, and somebody correct me if I've got this wrong as an example, 2 weeks every year he would refuse to answer any emails, mobile phone calls, anything like that, and would just go away and think. And that's just what he did for 2 weeks. And I know I've got an executive head teacher friend back in England. He's head of 7 schools, and half a day a week he does the same thing. He doesn't have anything to do with anybody, and it allows him to do that recharging. I know you weren't talking precisely about that, but it's a similar kind of thing, because when you allow the brain to relax, it then produces ideas. Okay, I think we've come to the end of that. Can I say thank you to KHDA for hosting us, and to everybody who's come along and made a contribution, and we all look forward to your projects in February. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
No problem.
I'd like to thank